I think it's cool that everyone has stopped being idolizing this idea of the anonymous artist with this faceless, I must be this like crazy hermit thing. And it kind of,
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I mean, you know, a guy like Karmazid surely would run the chance of being a dude who never talks to anyone. But you can see that he makes an effort to, you know, interact with people. I think that that's cool.
Hey, how's it going? You are here for Heavy Art Talk. Today, I am extremely excited. I have Jon Weber joining me from Australia. Jon is somebody I've been messaging with for like the last year and a half. Really stand-up guy, and his art is like so creative and imaginative, and it's done all traditionally, which obviously excites me. But beyond that, he's a really skilled musician as well. He has a fantasy dungeon synth project called Lurid, which he does the album art for, and then also does the music for. Some other bands and things he's worked on. He did a really cool gatefold illustration for Ophidian Memory, which we'll cover. He's also done work for Idle Ruin, Stellar Remains, Mortiis, Questmaster, and a lot of other dungeon synth releases. Without further ado, Jon, what's happening, man?
Hey, how you doing, Lee?
Doing great.
Great to be on your show, man. I've been watching a long time, and I don't miss an episode, and it's just kind of surreal to be here. Like being from Australia and the butt end of the world, it's sort of like you feel so removed. So it's kind of cool to connect, you know?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm really stoked that
I don't get to talk too much about, you know, the finer points of this sort of stuff. I've got a lot of art friends, but not a lot of fantasy painters really. So it's going to be cool to tuck into that, I reckon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For the viewers, he shared a ton of like work in progress photos for like his painting approach. And there's some aspects that kind of remind me of how I approach paintings too, which I don't paint as much as you do. I do a lot more with pen and ink, but the like multi-layered approach. So I'm really excited to dig into that.
Yeah, I guess like very quickly, like I do a lot of pen and ink stuff. I had in the prior days more probably. And I think that tracing element, I realized, you know, it's good to keep doing stuff where I sort of thought that, you know, with painting, that would choke a lot of the vibrancy out of the work. But yeah, a lot of prep. I like to do a lot of prep to protect myself. Yeah,
same, man. Well, before we get into that, what have you been listening to lately?
Oh man, I'm always listening to a huge mixed bag. Obviously, you know, this probably has the temptations to become like a dungeon synth episode of your show, but yeah, like I've actually been kind of cool on my heels on that a little bit. There's just so much coming out. But in terms of metal stuff, I've been really vibing on a Sydney band called Aglow. They're like a sci-fi sort of drudgy doom sludge metal band. I think they might even be Star Trek themed. I could be wrong.
That's cool.
They're really cool. It's sort of like Bolt Thrower, except without the blast beats. And I've just been sort of catching up with like Panzerfaust. I don't know if you know them. They're kind of like
they're actually not that far away from where I live.
Yeah, Ontario, right? You know.
Oh, no, they're farther away. I'm mixed up, but they tour a lot.
I could be seriously wrong about that. I'm not sure.
I think, but off.
Yeah, I like them. I wasn't sure what their deal was, whether they were kind of posed of black metal or what the hell, but they seem legit. So I was just checking out their new album. Actually listened to the new. Was a new metal kid a little bit, so checked out the new Deftones album yesterday, which was okay. You know, it was nice and smooth. And apart from that, like a whole heap of classic kind of rock, really, like Gordo, who has the Questmaster Dungeon Synth project. He has a playlist on Spotify called what's it called? Rockin' Into the Battle Zone. and I picked up a
Okay.
whole heap of bands from there, including one he actually plays in called Gloomy Reflections, and it's kind of like weird classic metal. But like Aussies like to do weird things to their music and make it sound kind of like shit. But we all love that.
So kind of little punk influence there.
Yeah, we just have this strange, warped thing. I've been talking to a lot of people about that, particularly in the music side of things. Everyone's always asking me, why are Australians so weird, man? Why does all their stuff sound so crazy? And I'm like, I don't know. I think it's just a tropical removed element. And the same for the art, really. We've got a lot of weird artists here.
Yeah. I mean, it's an eclectic place. I mean, that's how it's perceived, at least from over here in the United States. I mean, Australian stereotypes are typically down for a good time. That's usually how we perceive Australians, is they're just really friendly and they like to, I don't know, they're like funny and casual and just kind of the good sides of Western culture, really. Yeah,
look, I mean, I think the good ones are really good. I'm sure it's the same as everywhere. Yeah. And the majority are pretty like where I'm from would be seen as like maybe like a southern state kind of demographic in a way for you guys. Like quite, we have a word called Bergen, which is sort of like undereducated for farming stocks. But actually the irony is that a lot of the good stuff comes from those areas, but it's the people that bothered to read a couple of books or picked up the wrong thing at the bookshop one time when they were a kid and it sort of went...
Well, I know the stereotype because I live in southern US, so
I was just thinking about, I'm like, that was me, actually.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that.
Yeah. So where exactly are you from? I know you've mentioned this before, but...
Oh, yeah, it's cool. So I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, pretty much.
Oh, right.
That's where I live now. So I was like raised in like the suburban area, it's like a big metro area in Atlanta.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of people would like, go to the city for work, and then they'd want their kids in like the public school systems and the suburbs. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that live in metro Atlanta. It's kind of like Chicago in the sense that like Chicago has a huge suburban Chicagoland, outside of Chicago. We don't have the public transportation though.
That's actually pretty similar to what Brisbane, where I'm from, sort of has become. Like, it's amazing in my lifetime how big the city has grown. So I think, we've added millions in one generation, and Brisbane used to be the butthole of Australia, really, and now it's kind of seen as a destination place in a way. Yeah, so because Melbourne's just become a bit too crowded down there, I think. They've just got too much going on. But basically anyone who did anything interesting up here would move to Melbourne. That sort of really was the... And then everyone from Melbourne would move to Berlin. That's the old joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
You really can't hear my dog who's like flipping out.
No,
nothing.
Honestly.
Viewers, if you hear it, I'm sorry. The guy is
not
a French bulldog, and he's trying. I'm trying to get his energy out.
And I got the headphones on that, so...
Yeah, so yeah, you should be the one who knows.
Yeah.
I got a question. That's all right.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to, because if people are kind of like, what Dungeon Synth albums kind of, I got two that I reckon people should really check out that I've been listening to. One's L4, which is called Ugluk. So it's my album of the year for last year.
Okay.
And Ugluk, the orc, the Uruk-hai captain from Lord of the Rings. It's like his tragic life story in this symphonic.
Nice.
It's like... The guy actually made me nearly cry listening to it. That's how, but it's funny. I don't know.
So there's like what, spoken word in it or what?
No, it's kind of like his sound diary of his missions. And then of course in the end he dies. And if you listen to it, you see what I mean. But it's pretty cool. And then there's been a bit of an expansion in the scene. And so there's a lot of Goblin prog kind of electronica kind of coming into it. And Heroic Viking has a couple albums out. It doesn't actually sound like Heroic Vikings at all. It sounds more like like ComTrue's Dungeon Synth or something, synth wavy kind of stuff. It's really cool. Sounds like an 80s prog electro, but with dungeons. It's cool.
That sounds up my alley.
Yeah. Just a couple of little notches for people if they want to like check some stuff out.
Like that makes me want to ask. So I'm like a fairly surface level dungeon synth fan. I like it, but I don't know nearly as much as you do. So, what in general would make something good dungeon synth versus not? I don't even know if you want to call it bad, but maybe not remarkable.
Yeah, I think there's good and bad. I think there's a blanket thing. People have their tastes, but they generally know if something's good or bad. You know, like it does depend on where you are in the world. Like if you're a Scandinavian dude that lives in the winter mountains, like you're not going to want to hear Questmaster. But on the other hand, I think for me it comes down to the melodic elements. So the stuff that creeps too much into like ambient for me personally is there was a bunch of bands that did that at the start of the scene in the 90s and coming through the second wave in 2010 or so. And it's kind of been done. There's very few people that kind of are bringing anything new to the table. I think that the thing that's changed, which I really like, is it's kind of gone from being background music and RPG music to actually some of the records are more like listening to a release. I dare to use the word poppy, but yeah, I like stuff that's a bit more front of house and you can be active listening to it. So I think that's a misconception people make, that they think it's just background cool textures and there's definitely an element of tongue in cheek. I think that's cool, but a really good example is Erith Ackby, A Lantern Swathed, killer cover art, by the way. He used legit old school fantasy painting for that, and everyone loves it. Doesn't matter what they like, and he's just a great song crafter. So I think that's a big misconception. But basically the other thing too, I'm going to sort of contradict myself a little bit, is that people can listen to it in any way they want. And utilize it for any way that they want. So like with my music, some people love using it for their D&D games. Other people love coming to the live shows. Other people like sitting there and listen to the record. So yeah, I think it's going to become a little bit more active. I think it will become a hybrid of a new subgenre. And one last point, I think that everyone makes a mistake of thinking that it's people that can't do metal. And are just sort of taking this sort of cheap and easy way out. But that's not what's happening with the best guys. They're really sophisticated songwriters and producers, and they're kind of purposely making things sound a bit shoddy rather than it being like, I can't actually do that. Not all the time. And I'm not saying you can't. Yeah, so I think it's sort of like, people that can't get into bands are the ones that do this. And it's like, that's totally not true.
Yeah, I think... the ones that I like naturally the most at this point, I like Thief a lot, and Hole Dweller is really good. Hole Dweller is actually from Athens, Georgia. Awesome. So they're about an hour away, and I lived in Athens for a long time. Really good music scene. But yeah, I like Hole Dweller, Thief, and I think Old Sorcery. I think that's the name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the classic stuff, yeah. Thief's actually funny because given how his music sounds, which is like twaddly flutes, and he was actually at the center of like probably the first big contentious online beef ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Where he kind of came out and accused people of not being true dungeon synth, and everyone's like, dude, you're not. Yeah, it's. I had to catch up on all
anymore.
No. I like when guys kind of gatekeep a little bit. It's needed, but yeah, it's funny because he also said, "I'll never play live." That's not what this is about. Now he's just touring the world, so it's funny.
Oh, okay. People
change their tune, but he's killer. Like that, they're a great example. Him and Hole Dweller of guys who are like very talented musicians. Like,
yeah,
so Hole Dweller's amazing. He's sculpted out a very unique sound for himself.
Yeah, I really really like his material. And Lurid Orb, to be honest, I listened to it for the first time today and prep for
Yeah.
this. It's really good, dude. Like
Thanks, man.
it puts me in a setting which is like part of the charm of the genre. But like every track, I listened to the new record, Eternian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I listen, like each track is distinctly different. So like
Yeah.
sometimes with Dungeon Synth, I mean, you can even say Thief to a certain degree. It's like each song
Mhm.
has a lot of similarities. I felt
Yeah.
like it was more of a journey with yours, which I really liked.
Yeah, I think it reflects also my art output too. Like I just get really bored very quickly. So that's like a fundamental problem for me. I'll hear something, I want to do something in that sort of mold, or the calling for the project or track comes to that. And then I'm like, cool, I've done that. I want to do something else. And I think that's a bit of a point of difference for me. I know it really bothers some people in the scene, like it's too much for them, but that's fine. I understand that, but that's not really my purpose for doing things. And I enjoy writing sort of different types of things. I've been in a lot of different types of bands going back, and like a lot of different types of music in general. So from everything from classical to sort of, the Beatles, and then extreme metal. So it's like, I'm like, I only want to have one project. I'm like, I'm just going to do everything through this thing, and take it as it comes, and hopefully unify it just with some concept streamlining things, and the art look, and putting people in a place. So I definitely, that's something I'm looking to do. When people feel comfortable, I want to shift the floor in them a little bit and be like, oh fuck, I didn't expect that,
Yeah,
so yeah, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. The next album is actually, I've decided to reach out to I've got 26 tracks actually now. Of other people. Usually I'm so my own concepts and ideas all the time. I've actually taken concepts from other people and writing tracks around that.
That'd be really unique.
It's been an absolutely weird thing to do, kind of like getting commissions for art. Yeah. And I found it really challenging, but kind of really rewarding. And it's pushed me into different territory. So yeah, that's been sort of what I've been up to lately. But
how much work left do you think you have on that then? Still very early stages.
Yeah. Actually, it's probably been delayed a little bit because this release got dragged out due to the tariff situation in the States. Let's not talk about any of that. And then my label had some problems down in where they were with just delays, property stuff, floods, and various things. So I'm just going to take my time with it. I'm not really rushing that out, but I'm going to do eventually. Every track will have its own illustration, and we'll release a handbook to go with it.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I find it as like a module, and it's cool. Like people have come to me with like 1-2 sentences, and some guy gave me 23 pages. So wow. Yeah, it's people are really precious about their ideas. I found out.
Yeah, you do learn that.
Actually, the most, like, my wife, when I showed her what I was working on, she's like, you're going to change this, right? And this is going to happen. And I'm like, oh, God, it's happening. I'm collabing here now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been fun. But, that project itself, Lurid Orb, it's just I always saw it as a great opportunity to just blend, my art practice, illustration practice, and my interest in music, because I'd been out of the band game for so long. No one has the time. I'm 42. No one has the time to join bands unless they're super serious. And Dungeon Synth started off as my golf on weekends, and now it's like now I'm putting out records and playing shows. It's kind of, I'm happy for it, but I've got to keep a cap on it,
Yeah.
Plus, I got to dress up like a wizard, man. It's weird.
How long does that setup take?
I got it down to about 25 minutes.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah,
very
man.
Efficient.
Yep.
Good look, dude. I like it. I like the
Yeah.
look. I'm like, hell
I
yeah.
was even contemplating whether to rock up for this interview in the gear,
Would have been
but
pretty cool.
yeah, now everyone will be rushing around to see what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's music. I guess people didn't come here for this, right?
Yeah, let's talk visual art. So,
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any distinct memories growing up that like just really stick out in terms of like inspiring you as, to get into
Oh
like
yeah.
fantasy illustration?
Oh yeah. There's probably two or three really crucial ones. These aren't really in order of when they happened, but they was all around the same time. I remember going down to my like local bookshop, and yeah, I just was walking around, and then Dark Sun, they had the like series there. I think the first
Like
three
Brahm
books
art,
are out.
right?
Brahm. So the second book in the Dark Sun is like Rickus, and he's got this massive yeah, I'll have to leave that be. But he's just this muscle badass looking dude, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like as a kid, and I just immediately started picking up and tried to read the first couple of pages and had no idea what. But I said to my mom, like, I want to buy this, and she's like, oh, it's a bit old for you. And then I pestered her for a few weeks, and I bought the second book in the series first and didn't know what was going on and pretended like I did. But then that was kind of started the cogs, I think. I'd always been like an early starter with art and drawing animals, and I used to collect insects, and I'm a dinosaur guy. We can get back to that because I know you're a big dinosaur guy. Yeah. I've been loving the last couple of apps being very dinosaur heavy. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
But I would like to clear up something from Australia. It is a diplodocus. It is not a diplodocus. That's from where I'm coming from.
All right.
It's weird.
Well, you sold me then, man.
No, Aussies have always called it diplodocus. And I remember hanging out with some dino bros recently, and we were like, did you realize that we were saying it wrong the whole time? And it's like, no, we're just going to say that they're saying it wrong. So, yeah, but that was my favorite dinosaur. But yeah, so like, being interested in like drawing animals, and I had really supportive parents for that kind of thing. And my godfather was actually a kind of amateur artist. Yeah, so he kind of helped me develop a little bit, but I was always just getting new art stuff and obsessed with learning new styles and whatever. And then another one was, I mean, obviously Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when that came down to Australia, it was just like crazy. I remember also buying the Jim Lee X-Men 1 comic from my local newsagent and was like, this art's insane, because I started really off as a comics guy. Mm-hmm. And then I think the next one was like when I found a copy of Slain the Horned God in my local department store bookshop.
Yeah. That's some really good stuff.
Which, yeah. I actually was really disappointed because I thought all comics had that type of art. And I didn't really realize that I was looking at one of the greatest, art performances in a comic ever. For the first time, I'd really sort of had a crack at, looking at comics, really. I remember I was like 7. I think I bought it immediately.
Yeah, set the bar pretty high there.
Yeah, it blew my mind. That there was like boobs in it, so I had to keep it like a porno away from my parents and stuff.
See it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I think those things just made fantasy cool to me, and that kind of art. And none of my friends were into it. I was spent quite a lot of time by myself and happy to do so. And yeah, I think that was sort of set me on the road. Like, what about you? Did you have like a moment that you can sort of?
I brought up a couple ones, but one that I was just thinking about that I haven't really talked about is I remember when I was a kid and about like 6 or something. First of all, like the toy stores when you were younger, like, I mean, they were just like magical places, and like they don't
Yeah,
really
dude.
exist like that now, which is kind of a shame. I mean, there's some, but not as many in the US at least. But I
Yeah.
remember seeing Alien for the first time, so
Whoa.
Xenomorph, and
So like the toy, not the movie first, right?
yeah. So I saw a toy, and I just thought it was like the coolest looking thing ever, like the fluidity of the design,
Yeah.
and just I
My wife is a aliens nut. She's got like heaps of xenomorphs toys and
oh,
stuff that she
hell
collected
yeah.
over the time. So I know what you're talking about. They're incredible. Hey.
Yeah, so like I didn't know, Giger and all that stuff when I was a kid, but I just remember being fascinated by that. Things that were like dark and like I felt like if I thought in the back of my head that I wasn't supposed to like it because it was like evil or dark, that naturally made me more curious.
Definitely.
So that always really kind of got me. And then
well, I don't know, like, was it cool to find then later on, like, you realize that all of the dots kind of coalesce? You're like, oh, I like this thing when I was a kid, and oh, Giga's the artist designed that, and how many times that those very few people have so much control over your aesthetics and what you like. I find that incredibly amazing. It still happens now. I'm like, oh, whoa, that guy wrote that thing, and he's like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
did you find
I know
that?
exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
Like finding that, like I think it's so cool that Mobius, John Gerard did so many things. Like he was a concept artist, but also a comic artist, but also just a badass illustrator. Like
yeah,
to him and like Giger are especially inspirational to me because they had such an impact on setting up a whole movement. With Giger, it's like biomech is now a thing, and then it was a little bit before, but he made it big. And then
for sure.
with Mobius, I mean, the cyberpunk aesthetic I think comes from him in a lot of ways, and then his own psychedelic kind of Western feel. Like I just feel like they were true visionaries. So
yeah, I mean, Mobius is a massive hero of mine. Like he's in my top 4. I think that I prepped for later, but I didn't find him till later. But that was a retrospective, like, oh shit, he did all this stuff,
Yeah, same for me in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's funny with those contributors too, because like they kind of seem to be so much connected to the narrative design of the projects too. They weren't just guys that kind of came in and did a job. And I think that I try and resonate with that fact. Brom designed the look of Dark Sun. It's him. Manifest, and I think that's cool. That's cool. It's not just the cover, and so much stuff was like that, But yeah, I don't know. I think we're having another sort of explosion of that type of creative element going on again lately, which is cool.
See that
on the underground, the underground only. Honestly, guys like Mike Francina, with Trench Crusade, and coming from working on the Diablos, Wizards of the Coast, and like coming from those big corporations. And then he's like, fuck that. I'm going to go and grab game designers from the good days of Games Workshop, and we're going to do our own stuff. Morkborg, I do a lot of stuff in the gaming area as well as the music thing. And I'm really only... Yeah, and I'm only really interested in working with people who give a shit. They're not just there to make a buck.
Yeah, I feel you there.
And so, like you look at Magic the Gathering, I think they were really close and sort of imploding. And then they from what I can tell, I don't play the game, but I know a lot of the artists that do stuff for them, and they seem to have kind of pulled that back from the brink, and they're giving a lot of like... just giving opportunities to not the usual computer-generated concept art, 3D photorealistic people. Well,
the fans,
everyone's so bored of that.
That's a big part of it. I went to a Magic Con. I was helping out James Bousema, which is
Oh, well,
really,
yeah. Love that
yeah.
guy. He's so cool.
Oh, dude, yeah, good friend, and that was such a good experience. I'm glad I was able to help him out. I was like helping out with like sales at the booth, and it was very eye opening for me to see how much those fans, or a good portion of those fans, truly care about the illustrations. And they could be, done digitally or traditionally, as long as you could tell that there was like integrity behind the imagery. Like those
Yep.
fans like really sought out like the signatures and talking with these artists, and like I don't know many other fandoms that have that same degree of, first of all, disposable income. Magic the Gathering fans
Mm-hmm.
have money,
Yep.
and then also interest. And I think illustration kind of needs that, where there's a lot of other areas where there isn't enough money to really, I think, support some of the best artists in the scene eventually.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think is cool about Magic the Gathering is you got exceptional talent and they're being paid hopefully appropriately for what they're doing, or there are revenue making opportunities. Not to get too business about it, because I know I'm
No.
with you in the sense of like,
No, you got to earn money.
passion,
You have to earn money, man. Otherwise, it falls apart. I mean, this reminds me of I was going to get onto Games Workshop down the road and Warhammer and all that, because that was the other biggest influence in my life
Sure. Yeah.
for this stuff. But I'm an idealist. Like I want people to represent like I don't know, their creative ideology, really. I don't want people to bow down and take it up the butt from corporations just being like, oh, cool, I'm painting orcs, so I don't care, and I feel like that is impossible to come from certain parts of the sector now. Like people are really, really surprised to hear like, oh, I would never work as a concept designer for say like, World of Warcraft anymore, or I've talked to those people. It sounds like an absolute fucking nightmare. You get nothing out of it. I think that there's going to be some, real growth in the underground culture, probably similar to how it started. There's just going to be garage businesses that explode. And don't, please, if you're listening to this, don't sell your IP and make a quick buck. Like, just keep working on it, because you've got so much opportunity. There's so many stagnant fans of fantasy culture and underground music and gaming culture that are just like, please give me something good. And when you get something good like Dark Souls, from Software, it's, everyone's like all in for that.
Right.
And I think that people just get swept up in the pressure of being a creative visual artist and just are like, oh, I've been hearing all my whole life, I'm never going to be able to earn any money or make it. I better take the first thing that I can get, and there's a little bit of danger in that, I reckon. You get stuck, So, sorry, I lament.
Oh no, I feel you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. John Blanche, who was the old art director from, Warhammer and Games Workshop, no one knows why he didn't retire until he was, clearly unwell. And then he just released his own art book and made millions of dollars on his Kickstarter. And I remember seeing an interview where he's like, I would have done this ages ago if I knew I had this kind of following. And it's like, yeah, you should have.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I got that book. It's like the black and white.
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
it's pen and ink. It kind of, the way they print it kind of looks like graphite in some ways. But yeah, I think it is. That's a really cool book. It was like a hollow press book, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think he's connected with the Film Deck Miniatures guys.
Okay.
They have a channel online, but we're probably drifting into gaming more than music stuff here.
I mean, anything art I'm interested in, and it
Yeah.
can be things that even Heavy Art Talk, it's about people who know the concept of metal even a little bit. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been, frankly, last like 6 months, I've just been so obsessed with reading or like audiobooks. And it's not that like music has gone bad or anything. It's just I go through phases, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like right now, I'm very inspired by writers. For some reason, they're the people that are like really like getting me excited from a creative standpoint. Like I listened to, and I haven't read it yet. So for people, I know people get really passionate about this particular thing, but I listened to an interview with Gene Wolfe, writer. It was in like the late 70s, maybe the early 80s, right around Book of the New Sun came out. And it was a really interesting interview. It's on YouTube. If you search Gene Wolfe interview, you'll listen to it. But some of the stuff he was saying just blew my mind. And like that's the thing that's so cool about really good writers is like an image can say a lot of things, but when you can flesh out a whole world with just words and make you think so much and ponder, maybe even like philosophically, like that's a whole nother level of art that I personally right now I'm just really inspired by.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of arrogance from visual artists in that, a picture tells 1,000 words or whatever the saying is. But the truth is, I think that if I look at art that's weak, it has no narrative quality or no world building quality. World building is just really an apt term for writing background, in my opinion. And I agree. I reckon I listen way more to stuff from writers, like biopics on writers, or how they went about their things and just that kind of workflow and that sort of thing, because they're the ones sort of creating from the ground up. So I would be surprised. I think there would be very few fantasy illustrators that would not like to work on their own project. And I think that the pathway to get to there would be to study writing very, very intently. Keep an open mind, and don't listen to writing for fucking LA screenwriting, modules of how to write the perfect episode of Game of Thrones or something. Like, it's not what we're talking about here. You're talking more about that. Writers used to have, like, I'm trying to think of the sci-fi art, Philip K. Dick and the dude that did, those guys, they're punks.
People, man.
They're punks.
Yeah.
And
Philip K. Dick, man. Yeah, there's a lot to dig in there.
Yeah.
There was like
obviously don't mimic his way of life.
Yeah.
But so I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I probably definitely listen to more history stuff and more writing stuff than just frothing over art.
Yeah, it's the phase I'm in. There's other phases where I'm like obsessed with a particular period of music. I mean, it's like I always carry that obsession, but I do like get really fixated on something. I want to learn a lot about it. Mm-hmm. It's not like it ever goes away. It's just like I like to go broad and deep. Dude, you're exactly
like, yes, yeah, high five to that. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. My friends even sort of what used to say, like, oh, what phase is Jon in now? And I think that that's good because, as you said, it like bubbles up later on down the track and always finds its way to be relevant at some point. It's kind of like, that old brush or pencil or whatever that you're like, I really should throw this fucker out. Like, I've had it for 10 years. It's doing nothing. And then one day you need to make this one exact stroke and you're like, yes. It's the same thing for, information and learning. I think it's good.
What are a few of your favorite non-art books, so just literature?
I really liked Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. I think it's less I read that in my art school days, but it left a massive impression on me. Probably which I didn't glean. I'm going through the Hornblower books right now, and I'm absolutely loving those. They're killer. I always loved Horatio Hornblower, the show. It's one of my favorite shows ever. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Dude, you got to get on that.
Hornblower?
It is. Yeah. It's basically a kind of like mimic of Nelson as a kid, written into like a British drama. And it nearly sunk ITV for the cost they put into it. And do you know Sean Bean's Sharp and the Rifles, that show? Okay.
No.
You got to touch up your historical dramas, mate.
Yeah, I guess so.
But Hornblower is like sick because it's a very much a kind of deep dive into army masculine thought process and the ideas of duty and country and death and stuff. Okay. And all of that stuff is very, very useful for art, I find, because it will just make the expression on the dude who's about to get stabbed that much better and, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Other books I really like. God damn. I actually haven't. I've been doing Earthsea again.
Okay.
Which is been cool. I haven't read a lot of fan. Yeah, she's one of those badass writers we're talking about. More almost philosophy. Yeah. You could put me on the spot here. Hey, I probably haven't read a proper book for a long couple of years. I've just been too busy. My brain's too cluttered. I can't do it. But I used to like a lot of the classics. I just read The Hero's Journey as well, reading about that. And yeah, I can't think of anything else that's jumping out at me, but I like to sort of thumb through history books, and I've got a book of, I'm obsessed with tyrants.
Tyrants, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I like learning about like mean, gross dictators and stuff.
Yeah. I think that stuff's pretty fascinating too. So I can relate on that. I haven't, dove as deep into that, but like I find cults very interesting. And and like how that control happens and the psychology and the sociology of it. I think that stuff's sad, but also very interesting.
It's very interesting, but it kind of makes the world make a lot more sense when you realize how gullible and impressionable people are. And I think it stops you thinking that everyone has the capacity to be a hero. And they do. Like, I'm not trying to rule everyone out, but it, like from a place where the politics are quite racist and right-wing and conservative in a lot of ways, very money-driven, and you talk to people and they just haven't thought about this stuff really in their life. And I think it's good to know about that, just for finding your own space and value in the creative industries is a tough gig, man. You have to value yourself. I'm sure you've had that feeling of like, God, you're looking at a drag and you're copping heat from your uncles and aunties about when is John going to grow up? And you're like, and then you go and talk to some normal people down the road and you're like, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I do find it hard to relate to people who are just so straight and narrow. Like I can relate to a lot of people, but when people are just so rigid and they don't dig deep into things, I guess, or they don't want to, I don't know, man. I mean, like,
they can dig deep into things, but it's always the same things everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's baffling, isn't it?
I guess. I don't know. Maybe one way that I find myself feeling distance from other people is some people like to ignore looming threats, whereas I like to get obsessed about learning about them so I can try to avoid the consequences of them. And some people could see that as being focusing on the negative, but I see it as almost like a survival mechanism of like, I want to learn what I need to look out for when it comes to people in power basically fucking over the world. I'd rather know about it and learn about it than turn a blind eye to it. So that's one area that mentality naturally distances me from a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of artists are that way. We're very empathetic people typically, so we want to find out about that stuff, the indifference.
Yeah, you have to build up your armor. I'm a worst case scenario guy. That's actually one of my goals this year because my work's kind of solid and I don't have to worry about, my world imploding. which you tend to worry about far too long into your career.
That's a good point.
And like this year, I'm like, I don't think I need to do that, because it does create a lot of negative stress to your mindset. But I think in the development phase, it's a great thing to do because you're always prepared for something to not go well, and then that can go into other parts of your life, like. And it just, it builds an armor and a protection against this stuff. And I think it's really needed for people that spend a lot of time by themselves and kind of living by their own thoughts a lot of the time. It's good to think about like what possibly could happen, but the trouble is when that sort of feeds into then tainting your productivity and your mindset entirely. I think the greatest challenge of being this type of person is not learning the skills or having the ideas. It's the psychological battle of finding energy and space to do your best work. And you need to train that. And I guess that's what you're sort of saying. You can't just fall on your feet all the time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Very well.
Yeah, it's weird because you mentioned that you're like a sports guy as well, because I was a child athlete. So I feel like a lot of those disciplines really sort of kick in.
Yeah, I mean, I treat training for art like a sport personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or at least I just like I got to show up at my desk every day. You know what I mean?
That's the one.
That's ultimately what it is, and I think it's also like, I don't know, man. I believe in subjectivity in art, but I also believe some shit is just objectively awesome, and you should learn from it if you're inspired by it. So like,
definitely,
sometimes it's not anyone who's a professional or like good. They don't fall into this trap, but I find this trap with a lot of people who just haven't spent enough time humbling themselves by being aware that they're not where they want to be and being honest with it. Is they just spend so much time thinking about the subjectivity of art and almost using that as an excuse to not get better. Like
they are.
Yeah,
they are.
That shit drives me nuts. It's like if you just got your head out of your ass, you'd be so much better.
Yeah, and like those people should work on getting offline. If you find that you're having death spirals, I found out I had a personal complex, which was basically creating a self-destructive loop of failure and subconsciously activating that, whether I was in control of it or not. And the only way to fix that is to be consciously, actively putting things in place. And the first step's realization. So if you're one of those young artists who's like knows that you're not doing the right things at the right time and get too affected by things, like get a buddy in to help you, like talk to them about it. Like put some things in place. Because I think that it turns into an excuse a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think ego is probably the biggest thing that holds artists back from greatness.
Definitely.
Like, absolutely.
Actually, it's weird you say that. I've been doing a massive deep dive into like Carl Jung archetypal stuff. I really like esoteric investigations. Yeah,
I'm very early in on that, but I have like listened to like a lecture on it, and it's really interesting stuff.
I would struggle to have a conversation with anyone that really knew the specifics about it, but I felt like its kind of influence just sponges into you. And it's weird because, we grew up in the age of science really sort of taking over, and the older I get, the more I'm kind of like, this is making a little bit of sense in certain times. Like, maybe we shouldn't ignore this, And I have a couple of friends who dabble in, let's call them non-linear mindsets, and they've like honestly, we were talking about visualization and things like that, and and I find that visualization most of the things that I've done, I feel which have been successful have been really quite clearly visualized. And I'm not just talking about the mind map of the picture you're doing. It's just the whole thing.
Yeah.
And whether that's how productivity works or creativity works, I don't know. But there's something in there.
I totally see what you mean. I mean, I've never been like a hippie,
Yeah.
I have enough experience to know that there are some things that the human mind can experience that are truly magical and beyond explanation. And I also know that there's a lot of the opposite, where people will claim that something is like that, and it's just snake oil and self-help bullshit. So it's like there is truth in like actually expanding your mind and thinking about things on a much larger level, but there's also almost an equal amount of going down the wrong rabbit hole and really just fucking your mindset up. So people should expand their mind, but there's
and then throw drugs into that as well. I took a lot of acid in a certain part of my life, and which kind of led on to breaking the shackles of a lot of stuff. But it further muddies the pool of like what's reality and what's not.
But yeah, you at least know that reality can be a completely different thing than what other people perceive it as because of those experiences. It's when that becomes the escape that you end up, really losing your mind. But to do something like that once or twice in your life, I feel like actually better equips you to be able to handle a lot of things. But
for sure.
But it's just not losing yourself in it.
No, I think you got to kind of do that stuff with a purpose. It can't just be like, oh, I'm like in trouble, I'm bored, I'm going to do this. In my case, I was playing in a garage band at the time, and we were like doing a psychedelic garage thing, and we were like, hey, if the Beatles did this, we should, and we're gonna and we sort of did it, basically mimicked the 60s pool thing with wearing colored glasses and stuff, and that's basically the effect it had on us. And we went,
though.
It was absolutely brilliant. And you make a lot of weird sort of subconscious realizations sometimes when you're a bit relaxed in different ways. And I'm not telling people to go, hey kids, go out and do drugs or anything like that, but it's just all of this sort of stuff. I think you need to know what the limit is, and you need to know when you're like going into a almost an automatic state, an automaton state of pushing. That can be disastrous if you get that wrong, big time.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
But. Yeah, God, I can't even remember what we were talking about.
That's how conversations go.
That's right.
I guess before we show the art, I wanted to just kind of know some of your favorite artists or artists that are just really inspiring you right now.
Ooh, right now.
And if you want, show those books we talked about too. If that naturally.
I had my favorite artists ever lined up, but we've kind of covered them, to be honest. I'll show you my books. How about that instead? So no one seems to talk about this enough. Adrian Smith's Hate graphic novel.
That just came out, didn't it?
No, he's been doing it for years with Image Comics, but I think the compendium came out of like everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw him.
It is an absolute, like, he kind of was doing it in the background of his career. It's an absolute masterclass in like lighting and also how to create impressions, dramatic impressions, rather than, hyper focusing on the details. It's digital. It's digital, but it's kind of like it was impressionistic painting style. Like,
could I see like a panel or two?
Yeah, sure. I'll pull it out. And there's no There's no talking. It's just all. It's so dark. I'll try and.
Oh wow!
Like it's just page after page of like insane fantasy settings. It's really grim. Like and it's a masterclass in design. It's kind of like the Droulet comic got like Warhammered.
I see it as like Drouet and Dore had a baby almost.
Yeah, yep, Dore, man. Oh, he should have been in my big four.
Well, yeah, he's probably one of the greatest of all time, dude.
Yeah. Oh,
it's hard to think of anyone really that was better than Dore.
Yeah, and he's just incredible. So ahead of his time. It's ridiculous how ahead of his time it was.
Still so inspiring, man.
If you get an opportunity, get your hands on this rule book. And the rule book art in this is some of the craziest shit ever. It's like
cool.
The weirdest. A lot of. It's called Mortiis. So it was a Games Workshop game written by Thomas Piernan, who's a sort of badass in the gaming culture. He's sort of gave two fingers up and sort of walked out of Games Workshop and kept his IP and stuff. And he's actually one of the game designers for Trench Crusade with my friend Sheena.
I know about Trench Crusade because some other people are talking highly about it. So are there like books to purchase of it and then it's like a tabletop game?
So Trench Crusade basically is the epitome of the underground counterculture but well-produced game. So like some big dogs left and they've just released their rules. You can buy the books for free, but they've also just published all the rules for free. They've got miniature sets. They basically kickstarted it to begin with, and they're I think that they were aiming for about $300,000, which is definitely no sniff. Like that's still a pretty major project. But they ended up with, I think it's close to 7 million now. So they're like, we're just going to quit all our fucking jobs and just focus on this. And then they've gone around and just cherry picked all these very pissed off guys like Paul Bonner. He's working for them. Adrian Smith's doing a bit for him.
Paul Bonner's amazing.
But yeah, I've got his art book too. It's really good. One of the best printed books I've ever seen.
One of them at least. He's doing all that shit in watercolor too, right?
I know, he's such a weirdo.
Unreal, dude.
Yeah, he works so big. That's something that I found out. Yeah, he works massive, but I think he dabs away like acrylic, really. But part of me is just like, why don't you just use gouache, bro? But I'm not going to knock Paul Bonner. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So like it's I think it's the first sign that in the industry that doing a quality self-run thing which isn't greedy, that's the key component. It's not greedy. People will just come, and it's sort of spiraled into this huge thing. And yeah, I'm really supportive of it. I'm actually doing some official merch for it for a shirt company in the UK soon. So I'll have to, I'll see when I can print about that. But I'm really excited by that. It's very, very wild. But they're just more engaging with like on the ground people. They're not concerned with going and pinching all of the, those guys you see that could be on the front of SFX magazines, no knock on them, but that's just a different kettle of fish for what we're on about, I reckon.
Yeah.
And it's just good to have some representation. I don't know if you've heard of like Morkborg. That's another one. And,
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So, and like in the metal scene, man, like, the big dogs are still, Testament just released an album who they use, like, it's our guy. And it's similar with, I think there's a reinvestigation back into the grassroots. People like Dan Seagrave he's an icon now for everyone and not just in metal. So that's awesome to see for me. It's so cool. It leaves so much space for things. And then I'll just throw this one up. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have I recently got the graphic novel that he did before he died too.
Oh shit! I haven't seen that.
Frankenstein graphic novel. Yeah, it's really good as
Really?
well.
Okay. Well, I learned something.
Oh yeah, I collect
But,
almost everything Wrightson does. I have nearly everything at this point.
yeah, I can imagine your book collection's crazy. I've got some good ones. Being in Australia, it's a bit tough. I try not to. I don't order too much just online because with shipping and stuff, it can get a bit gross. But around here, you can just find stuff. I found like what was it? It was like a Hieronymus Bosch plate printed book, coffee table book
Nice.
in my local op shop for about $10. So it
And
can happen around
too. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I had a look and it's pretty cool. But yeah, in terms of, I might give it a bit of a shout out instead of like artists I'm really into. There's some Australian artists who are really good down here that I don't think get a lot of chop. A couple of them are friends of mine. We don't really have similar looks, but a dude called Murdoch Stafford. He's an insane artist. Art of Nerdgore. I'm sure you know him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's Australian?
Yeah. I think he's British, but he's down in New South Wales,
Okay.
chipping away. We all kind of keep vague tabs on each other and stuff like that. But
good.
Murdoch Stafford's really good, man. He's super nice guy, and I think he's super underrated, purely because he's like, we're just a bit detached here. And then a dude called Sam McKenzie. Oh no, Sam. He's done some Magic the Gathering sets, but he's got a very cool 80s, 90s comic gloopy style.
That's cool.
And then is it Greylock Art? Greylock? Yeah. Greylock Art down in Melbourne, I think he is. I could be wrong, sorry, dude. But just
I
sort of
him a lot. I forgot that he's Australian. We were just chatting the other day. He's rising through the ranks real quick.
I reckon he went from being really good to crazy good very quickly. I really like the fact that he's kind of mixed metering a lot, using a lot of. I kind of actually really liked his. I've nabbed it a couple of times recently, but the textured, similar to what Mystic Barbarism Robin's doing, where you texture pencil under the ink, and it kind of gives it this, instead of trying to remove the line, because the printers are getting so much better, right? So you can have that. It's a cool look, but yeah, I love his paintings. He did a cover for a couple of bands on Brilliant Emperor label, and they're just incredible.
Yeah, no, he's really cool, and maybe I'll have him on the show sometime.
Yeah, one guy I was meaning to ask you about, because you're well connected, but what's his name? David Logbama or Lombama? Oh fuck! This is going to be a disaster for this show. Go take a piss, everyone. Oh, Davor. No, that's not him. Ah, fuck. I fucked this up. Just cut this out, man. He does really spiraling, weird. I've got to find him, man. You can cut this out, okay? Cut this.
I'm not cutting it, but yeah,
quick cut.
Send it to me after.
Yeah, he's probably. This guy's been the one guy I've been most frothing on lately, because he's really weird. It seems like a recluse. He does massive releases out of nowhere. They're huge spiraling. Sort of, I like when there's a bit of a connection. It's something I want to do more in the future, is connect that kind of historic Renaissance, pagan art stuff to, more of my stuff, which is Games Workshop Hero Quest boards that got out of hand, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of want to maybe see if I can do a little bit more elevated stuff. Robin, it was a big influence on me when I saw his stuff. He smashed me between the eyes. Mystic barbarism, I must admit. It kind of came out of nowhere.
His work really inspires you?
It just it was also off the back. I put on a Dark Souls themed dungeon synth night here at a local place, and we had a Dark Souls themed art show, and I had like Karmazid sent some work over. Ellie, what's her last name? You know, the tattooist who she just had a Ellie, she sent some work over. Yeah, like I had quite a few cool people send some stuff over.
Livingston, that's it.
Yeah, Ellie. Sorry, Ellie. But yeah, Karmazid kind of like he's insane. He's incredible. Good getting him on the show. And
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
I don't like this good artist, but he just makes me laugh a lot, man. It's funny, dude.
He's a funny fella. I own a couple of his works actually, which is very proud. And yeah,
and I know it's authentic because it smells just like cigarettes, dude.
Yeah,
it's distinct. It's legit.
Oh yeah, it's got that German Berlin. Now, where's he from? He's from up north, isn't he? The German stank. But yeah, so Karmazid sort of really made me reappraise my own black and white work and just be like, dude, you need to slow down and you need to render less. Every line needs to have more of an impression, rather than just shit. You know, I feel like a lot of that's kind of manic. I actually have a big thing stuck to my drawing board saying "stop the render," which my wife made me put in there because I'd always over-render everything. And him, and then when Robin came, it would just look like it was from a different time, but still with the modern stuff. And he just makes such good decisions with his mass
design choices.
Yeah, and I think it's natural to him, but also he does work hard. So he made me sort of take a step back and kind of, I'm not doing so much black and white work. I'm about to actually do a huge amount of it, but yeah, it's been cool to analyze those guys a little bit and just sort of, you know, I'm sure you've had the same sort of influences from these people.
Yeah. I mean, some more than others, but it's not that they're like, everyone has their favorites, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the people that really just get them very inspired. And both those artists like inspire me a lot. But I mean, for me, like anytime Aaron Horkey posts something, it's like he's one of my biggest inspirations, no doubt. And then,
well, actually, the vacuum guy said Brandon Holt and him. That was kind of, I reckon,
Brandon Holt,
because I was fiddling around with, like, I come from a Viz Arts background, so I was actually an abstract painter through art school and ran galleries in London and stuff. But I just saw that whole world was just tanking. It just wasn't going anywhere, and seeing that brand develop as an artisan brand, but for this kind of material, I think seeing someone sent me a Brandon Holt picture of some dragon, and I was like, oh fuck, people are doing this. Okay. Yeah. And it sort of started me on that path into focusing more on this sort of thing, which was great, you know, but they're just so, Aaron Hawkey's a freak, you know,
I just find him, not only his work, but I mean, I don't know, just seems like a pure-hearted person from what I could tell. So that also like rubs off on me.
That's that idealist thing we were talking about, right? They seem like idealists. You can trust them.
Yeah.
They're never going to.
Yeah, it's just like when an artist is like, when another person who I see as a mentor, you know, from a personal standpoint too, is Mark Riddick. I mean, he's been on the show a lot.
Yeah.
He's obviously a good friend, but like, it's the little things about him and like how he treats people, and
definitely
he like checks in on people and stuff, and it's just like I can tell he's like a really kind-hearted person. So I see him as a mentor. Like I want to be more like him in terms of how I communicate with people, help other people out. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, I mean, honestly, Honestly, man, I think you've had a big part to play in this, like the second wave of the scene, because like, I talked to Jesse Jacoby from time to time. He was just obviously I saw that tomb mold painting. I was like, this is awesome.
Really nice guy as well.
And, James Basima, like, and you've had a hand in bringing that all together and kind of anchoring it, which I know everyone appreciates that I talk to.
Well, thank you.
So, thanks from all of us. But, it's gone from kind of everyone following each other and, vaguely to sort of actively talking like, hey, what pen did you use? And I think it's cool that everyone has stopped idolizing this idea of the anonymous artist with this faceless, I must be this like crazy hermit thing. And it kind of,
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I mean, a guy like Karmazid surely would run the chance of being a dude who never talks to anyone. But you can see that he makes an effort to, interact with people. I think that that's cool. I don't think that that's influencer behavior. And I try and do the same thing. So, if you're a young artist and have any questions, just honestly message me. Like, I'm cool with it. But it's more of a sharing thing, and everyone's expected to not be a dick. We all know that a couple people here and there, when you get them and you don't talk to them for too long.
But there really not many in the illustration scene. Like I can think very few. So
nope.
It's overall a really good place.
Yeah.
You want to talk through some work?
Let's do it.
All right. Cool. So
this is bringing back nightmares, man.
All right. Well, tell me about it, and then you can direct me a little bit because I have all the work in progress. So if you're like, hey, you have that in there, tell me, and I'll go to it. Okay.
Good nightmares. So like Blake from Ophidian Memory came to me pretty much just like out of the blue. And it was weird because I did a couple of Dungeon Synth covers which were quite heavy on landscapes. And I never saw myself as a landscapes guy, but I sort of started to really get into it. I kind of enjoyed doing mountains and buildings and stuff. And yeah, it just so happened, luckily, at the same time, a couple of people said, I really like your like 70s retro fantasy scapes. Do you reckon we can like metal it up a little bit? And I'm like, absolutely. And he sent over, he needs a lot of credit here for some elements of the design. Like he sent me hand-drawn, very rudimentary stuff of like runes and angel insignia, and he sent me pages and pages of shit, man. It's because his band is themed on, I think, his like D&D game or a game he's designing or something like this. Which it's super cool to see all that stuff. And
sounds like a great.
But it's also. Yeah, perfect. Hey, perfect. And we've got another one coming, which could be even crazier. But like, it's a blessing and a curse because when you have so much information, I must admit I was like overloaded with all of the lore stuff. And I said to him, I feel like if we keep this too down the tunnel with this, it's going to lose the like the punch effect of people just seeing a cool picture. Yeah. As a cover. So we sort of actually distilled it down a little bit and made things a little bit more vague. And he wanted a full wraparound, which always has its challenges, but also gives the opportunity to sort of combine different elements of the picture together, which was cool. But yeah, the composition was pretty much took the majority of the prep time, hey? Like just, yeah, so this was the final digital line drawing that I did to clean up, but basically it was designing, the angel, the foreground masses, the fortresses all separate, the background in the distance, and then the scoopy bit on the bottom left with the wizard guys. They were all like, I sort of designed them separately and then pulled them together. It's a trick I learned from Paul Bonner, actually. he had it on his blog.
What do you
And I
mean
was like,
by
oh,
that?
these guys. Yeah, I think it's, what's that website? They have like creatives kind of on there. Charles Vess.
Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, Charles Vess is a similar process. And I was like, oh, I would assume that these guys would hate that because it's sort of very like copy pasty in a way. But then I found a way around that, which was bring it into digital and then actually work on a very clear design from all those parts, and then just nudge things, because you can nudge things around with the transform tools, right?
Yeah.
So I found that to be really, really good for me, because like doing the sketches and stuff can be insanely laborious. I actually found I was over sketching things. I learned this from actually, I'm just going to find this guy right now, a different artist who I found that his sketches was basically very, very simple line. And then
just because you're repeating the work too much or stiff.
Yeah, well, because I paint so thickly, what I was finding out is I was losing all the detail from the sketch process anyway, and I was losing the handle on the picture. So actually doing less, but doing color preps digitally and doing a lot of like, having the old sketches to refer for mass and lighting and stuff is really good. Yeah, there you go. So
like
I tried with
basically.
Yeah, mainly to get lighting structures. I actually joined Adrian Smith's Patreon, and he does a lot of awesome stuff in there about how to build the sort of the plane, basically. The plane of light, and the colors not so much important, but more the light.
Yeah, light.
Yeah, which is something I can definitely improve on big time. But I'm trying to be a little bit more like have a little bit more activity with lighting. And it's just good. It's when you jump in. The problem is you refer to this a lot, and sometimes you can like cap what you're doing because you're too referential. So I tend to screw up this and throw it out about halfway through.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's kind of like that. It's just you're like, oh, I find it similar to like producing music where I'm like, am I going to go with this timpani or this timpani, and have like the frequencies like going back and forth. I'm like, I can't figure it. It's like, just delete one and not have it the option, and it's really not going to matter, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's
just
the thing with
on.
like working traditionally is eventually you got to commit.
Yeah, just commit. And I definitely commit with color. I let the color do its own thing. So like the color design, I come up with a strong color, I think like idea of what the concept of the color of the piece is going to be. And then I use an oil painting method where I basically blend all the colors on a single palette and they get muddied up.
Got a little bit of that here.
Yeah. And I found that really helped to naturalize the look, because when I was doing spot palettes with different, my reds for this part, things would look very separated. So I actually don't let the color do its thing. Let the color do its thing.
That reminds me of watercolor style as well.
Very much so.
And watercolor, because it's like you can't, unless you're like I know like tattooers who paint, who are like going for a certain graphic look, they want that like separation and that looks cool. But if you're trying to do something painterly, that's
exactly. I did a lot of work back in my early days with like colored inks, because I couldn't handle the reactivity of the watercolor. So yeah, the layering of the colors of inks I really found was something to be, amplified rather than worried about, I guess. But yeah, I guess my acrylic process is probably similar to a mix between oils and watercolor, like you said.
It's interesting,
which I guess it is.
You say you work thick, because a lot of the other acrylic painters that I have had on the show, they say that they work really thin.
Oh, I work really thin.
Oh, I thought you said you work thick. Okay.
No. No, just in terms of like the processes of how you're building the color. Like for this this painting, like some of the areas will be almost transparent, like the swords will be very little paint applied to those, and then other areas will have quite a lot. But the thing is, because I'm using light layers of paint, unless I'm doing like rock textures or something, painting over things,
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it'll keep a very smooth plane, and that's what I want, you know. I'm going to try and rough it up a bit this year, though. I think be a bit more like loose.
And I see you have long game is easier. Tell me a little bit about that.
Like the long game is like trying to think about. I've got another note here, which is do it the best possible way, not get it done. So, because I think that with deadlines and pressures of life, and you know, we're all juggling different. You know, I'll often have up to 7 projects open at any time.
Oh wow!
And with it, you know, I think I counted, and I've got 12 commission pieces, like covers and stuff, like backed up, and the pressure is to try and get this done because you need to get moving. But the quicker you paint, the more you're frenetic, like the more mistakes you make, the more you cost yourself time, and then you spend so much time fixing up things and making poor decisions. And I still, you know, we all do that. But I get quite aggressive with myself, so it can be a real death spiral if, you know, on this cover I'm doing in the background, I nearly finished it and didn't realize, but I'd been massive gloop of paint on my hand and been put it right over the main part of the painting, and I had to go back in and repaint it.
Shit.
And that was purely because I was tired and trying to push the issue and not doing things right, and didn't have the studio set up right. So I think that you need to have this, like, play the long game. Like it's all about what you achieve in the distance, not like what you're going to do today.
I can really relate to what you're saying, though. Like, I know when I'm like, you have to be really aware of where you're at when you sit down, because if you're impatient and you don't like take the time to, even like when I'm doing like pen and ink, I'll have like a sheet of paper that I put my hand on to avoid that issue. It's like if you rush those things and you mess with your natural rhythm, you will make mistakes. So yeah, you need to like check yourself.
And the thing you can do, like if you're busy, is if you're feeling like, yeah, you are in that frame of mind, well, utilize that energy doing admin stuff, emailing people, going on Instagram and commenting on people, because, you know, we all have to do that. You know, like you're still achieving something during that time. Because, you know, we all have that guilt pressure of like, oh, I should be doing something and I don't really feel like it. You can't always wait to feel like you're ready. But if you really know from experience that you're walking a danger line here, you're on the tightrope, and if you fall off, it could really cost you. Well, then you're probably better off just taking a step back and leaving it, and coming back with fresh eyes. I mean, how many times have,
definitely,
you know, something that you've been hyper focusing on, you come back and you're like, I can't even remember what I was worried about there. But, you know,
it's kind of the best feeling, really, when you can separate yourself from tunnel vision. Yeah, that
is the joy. That is the joy of that bit where you can spectate a bit more. So I try and play the long game. I've done that with all of my projects. I've done that with what work I select to do. Don't just, you know, I think when you're a young artist, like definitely take on everything you possibly can within reason to get experience and do different stuff. But later on, you kind of want to end up doing stuff you can do properly and that suits you.
What surface are you painting on here?
Ashes 640. Smooth, like hot press watercolor paper.
Okay.
Yeah, the super thick one, because I absolutely like bashed the shit out of my paper early with washes, like you can see under that. Like that's I like.
So is this like 300 pound then?
No, 640.
Oh wow. Yeah. Fuck, I don't even know where I would buy that. I just work with 300 pound, but that's still pretty bulky stuff.
So the 300 pound I find has a better, smoother surface. But where I am is we are the humidity center of the world, and even stretching the paper properly. Like I used to work in an art shop. Something I'd recommend to young artists too. If you bash down the door at your local art stores everywhere and just pester them until they give you a job, because one of the best educations you can ever have. And you get to try a lot of different things out. But yeah, like the 300 is smoother. I prefer that surface, but it's not enough for me. And I couldn't stretch the paper. It wouldn't work. It would just kink. It's so humid here.
You pre-stretch before you lay it down?
No, I don't. That's why I get the 640, so I don't have to bother. But I'll. That's why it's taped down with like gaff, just to stop it moving around too much. And yeah,
I don't stretch my paper. But
honestly, when I lived in London, like not a problem.
Yeah,
it's such a stable. Here we can go from 35 degrees to 21 and have storms come in and drops of humidity, and it just all sorts of problems. Can't arrive from that. So I would love to use Strathmore Bristol board, I think, to do painting on, but it's too expensive to get here, and you can't buy it over the counter anywhere. So I used to use Bristol board. But again, the quality really dipped during COVID, and it's tough to get. So I just bite the bullet and it's expensive, like per sheet. It's quite expensive, this stuff. But
it is, yeah.
That's why I like to do all the preparation too, so you're not like hoeing through mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What method do you do for transferring your drawing?
The trickiest part of all, isn't it?
I use a light board. That's one reason why I wouldn't want to do the 600 pound, is because I wouldn't be able to do the light through it. The 300 max I can do, and even then I lose detail, which is fine. But
yeah, so like the light box will get through a 640 barely if it's a black and white line. So that's with the sketch we went to like. It's simple, but for more like intricate pieces where I need more direction, I'll actually get a print off to size of the sketch and backshade with graphite, and then work on the drawing that way, because you can use colored pencil, but you can't remove it if you make changes. So yeah, I'm basically picking the best of all the worst case scenarios there.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I definitely used to do a lot more sketching in the transfer stage, and I just felt like I was wasting so much time, trying to figure that part out. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get it on there, make sure the composition's really locked in, and then just work on the sketch with pencil.
Makes sense.
And then I'll do a matte medium wash on top, just to make sure things don't move around or get peel off.
Wash, basically.
I might just do my ink washes first, actually. So it can be absorbed into the watercolor paper properly, and then I'll do a matte medium.
I do too.
Yeah, it's a good method, but I find it works best with hot pressed paper because it sits up a bit more. But yeah,
you do airbrush for laying down the matte medium?
That's my next investment. I've always been a bit suspicious of. I'm not the greatest of like cleaning my stuff and keeping my stuff. So
this is maybe not the right tool.
Well, my bro, he's like a miniature painter, and he's like, dude, all you need to do is have 2 rules and you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. But I've been messing around, Simon Bisley styles with using like Liquitex sprays, and I think maybe with one of the pieces coming up, we can show that. But it's become too problematic. I had situations where the paint went down too thick and I couldn't pull my masking areas off, and it just ripped the paper and all sorts of shit. So I think airbrushes, kind of on the agenda, but I don't know. Like you can get pretty smooth. I kind of like when there's imperfect. Roger Dean's obviously got his thing, but I think a lot of my stuff tends to be a little more grungy. So it's like you don't need those hyper smooth fades and stuff.
Well, let me interject real quick.
Yeah.
I am kind of with you in terms of like the airbrush like aesthetic. I don't know if that's really for me either. But what I do use it for that really helps me out is laying down consistent matte medium. Just to have that surface to work. So that's
Alan Williams.
Recommend. What was that?
Alan Williams.
Yeah, Alan Williams does it, and then Bisley does it too, I believe. But then there's a David Finch live stream where he's doing a color pencil Joker, and that live stream tutorial, which was inspired by Bisley, is what basically I do a modified version of that for my painting process now.
Yeah,
because it makes sense. Right. So, like, if you want anyone out there, if you
are you talking what paints are you talking here? Are you talking acrylics or watercolors?
So I do currently watercolor, lay down matte medium, then I have a fresh surface, and I do color pencil, and then I do gouache on top of that. Because I like color pencil because the directness of it, Yeah. But then I like the
So matte medium works on top of watercolor, hey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'd always just used Liquitex acrylic inks instead for that because they stay put, but they are expensive and the color can be a little dull sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the scanned version of the painting that I did is more lively than my original, but the original kind of has like I think a lot of it's just my own technical. I just need to improve. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a way to make this process work really well.
That's really interesting because I would love to spray matte medium across particularly also for the end too, because I like to do a flush right at the end of like a very, very, very diluted. Like if I want a warmer painting, I'll do like a warm burnt sienna type thing or a quinacridone orange, just to unify it. But brushing over the pencil and all of sometimes I'll make weird marks with strange things. Pencil, that's a bit of a fucking nightmare, to be honest. So spraying matte medium would be awesome.
I mean
actually.
And you don't even have to do... Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. Once you have the airbrush, you're going to see how it can help out with spot highlights. But doing the flat washes, that just might not be me or your bag ever. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if I really like doing that either. But just little chrome effects and light spots or whatever, you'll find uses for it.
Yeah, well, I literally just got a commission for they had a whole heap of Roger Dean inspo stuff. So I was like, maybe that's a good message. Yeah. I'm just going to order a water from my wife. 1 second. We'll put the order in. So that's very interesting. I think I will pull the trigger on an airbrush, but I don't want it to. I don't want to turn into suddenly there's fucking 80s. I don't want to turn into Ed Repka. We've already had him.
I don't think you will.
No.
Because even I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to do this kind of stuff. No, I don't like pulling. I don't enjoy using it. That's the thing. Watercolor is generally fun. Inking is generally fun. Airbrushing, I don't find fun. It's like a necessity to get a certain look for me.
Yeah. It's weird. Man, someone asked me, they're like, do you find doing art fun? And I was like, that's a complicated question.
Sometimes.
Making music for me is fun until you hit computer issues. But doing art more feels like having a war.
Yeah.
With the image to get the best possible thing, and I think that's okay. But I've reached a point where I need to settle down and calm down a bit because I'll drive myself crazy and have a heart attack or something. But Yeah, it's a very weird one. I don't see like doing these paintings as like a great like cathartic experience at all. I'm an end product guy. I like to look at the end and be like, yes, like it's done.
I can relate.
And there's times that I like the process, but it's just frustration to get the thing done. That I can see in my mind.
Well, I mean, with a piece like this, it's just so ambitious. I mean, it is. That's why you do all the preparation. That's why you do all that kind of stuff. And then after all the preparation, there's finally the moment of, okay, fuck it, we're doing it. And then you're in the war. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it feels like. But
yeah, I think you got on something.
You do. That's the thing is when you're an artist, it's like, what other choice do I have?
Nah, it's the curse.
Yeah, it's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and then there's also like just wondering how it's going to be. I kind of have that imposter syndrome thing where I just think everything I do is like kind of crap. Yeah. And just dealing with that kind of thing. But you just trust the process and it'll be fine. It'll be okay. But you got to make sure you.
I mean, a lot of people gave you a lot of kudos for this one and for good reason. Yeah,
I felt like this is kind of off the back of this. This is something that can springboard me into doing. I definitely want to do a lot more metal stuff. And I've noticed recently that I've kind of been sought out for that kind of 70s to 90s, almost retro gaming look. And
it's awesome.
Yeah, but I would like to actually do some sort of even darker stuff. And some sort of weirder stuff as well. So, thank you. My order is up. Thank you. Don't. Oh, cool. Get out of here. And yeah, so people kind of like, black metal or death metal crews are like, hey, are you cool with doing like, a priest, getting murdered by ghouls? And I'm like, no, give me everything you got, like it's all good. But I felt like this picture kind of maybe has helped push me into the death metal world a bit more, which I'm keen on. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some there's like certain technical things that remind me of Brad more. I think it's just like the acrylic part, but
man, love Brad.
Yeah.
Just the sprawling X. It's weird you say it because the tricky thing for this piece too is it's actually like if you were to put all the perspective elements together, it doesn't make any sense. It really reminds me of like, if you have to show off all these components, but trying to make it look like a snapshot from a film or something, but actually having all the components work, but they don't really, really work. Like, there's certain things that just wouldn't be like that, perspective wise or whatever. And I remember looking at Brad's stuff and I was like, yeah, I mean, just who cares? Just like add another layer and pretend like this is just that was definitely a conscious thought going into this. And it definitely kind of relaxed my mind. He's like, who cares? As long as it
just make it interesting.
Yeah, make it interesting. Exactly. So.
Well, I love it, man.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another one where we got a shit ton of work in progress photos and stuff.
Yeah. This one was born from an idea that originally it was just going to be the bottom half for a gatefold. So the front and back of the vinyl pressing would be kind of two versions of the same crew in a way. And I'd already sort of started designing it, those things. And Helena, my wife, who's an awesome animator, by the way, came in and was like, yeah, but how's this going to work with a square? Like when you have your shot on Bandcamp or whatever, because are you going to choose the bad guys, like the red guys or the good guys? And I was like, oh, fuck. So I had to design the whole top half as like a kind of extra part of that. And I'm really glad that happened because it kind of gave this like Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a good change.
Yeah, I was really worried everything was going to be so small that it would lose impact. But actually, what's happened is the amount of times I get messaged by people who are like, followers of Lurid or just see it or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, do you have like a high res version of this that I can tuck into?" And I'll just like send it to them. That's happens quite a lot. So it's actually sort of had an inverse effect where people are, I want to see more, and they want to actually get in there a bit more. So yeah, but when I decided that the top half was going to sort of, be a thing, I was like, I just want this to be like a Hero Quest or Warhammer Quest board just gone mental. Like, it's just like a 80s, like one of those sword and sorcery movies just got really out of hand, So that's what we sort of ended up here. But I wanted to have very almost sort of Renaissance touches to the design, Art Deco touches, and sort of high art. It's like a high art design, or historic art design with like, this like schlocky filler. That was the concept, really.
It's just so damn cool, dude. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Thanks, man.
In some ways, and not that it doesn't aesthetically look like his work, but like the mixed media charm of it reminds me of Patrick Woodruff a little bit.
Oh yeah, nice.
I think that's like super
I could see that.
Yeah. Dude,
actually, it's
like an art book of his that like explains his process. It's fucking fascinating. But yeah.
Oh whoa.
Keep going.
I would love to see that.
I think it's fairly well. It's called a look back or something. I'll just show it to you after. But
have you mentioned this book before, or is that a different?
On my Instagram, like probably 6 months ago.
I'll have a look.
Yeah, it's
cool. I can get it easy. All right, sweet, done.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird that you bring up the mixed media element to it because, like I didn't really realize until I had a look at the piece again recently, which is hanging up in my studio, that some parts of it are almost like watercolor and other parts are really thick. And I think initially I was very concerned about that, but
kind of like there on the left a little bit.
Yeah. So they're those washes I do. They're super important. They just unify the whole vibe of the piece a lot. And then that's using the spray textures on of the cans, which is I would use an airbrush for that, if I was going to use it. But to be fair, the background didn't really turn out exactly as I would have liked, and because the spray paint's so thick, it was starting to coagulate in that way I was talking about before, and I was getting worried, so I just had to bail. I wanted to have a lot more like sort of misted look across it and sort of more whatever, but I think in terms of, keeping a part of the painting more simple for the eye, that was probably worked out for the best, but yeah. It's not too much. I probably could have done a bit more with the sky areas just to make them a bit more interesting.
For me, it's good to have some space for your eyes to breathe.
Yeah, that's a constant struggle for me. I think it's just an insecurity of not being cool with just leaving space. You're a high detail guy, you know what I'm talking about.
You have a similar insecurity, yeah. No,
it's just I think like there's just some sort of weird compulsion, right? Like it is,
yeah.
You don't even realize you're doing it, and I think like your later works is so much stronger because there is a really good balance to that that I've noticed developing. Yeah, stuff's been killing it lately. But this was just a lot of spot designs, and then getting a really clear concept of like what was going down. I wanted to spend a lot of time on the stonework and stuff to make it look kind of have a bit of oomph to it as well. So it was it took a while, but it was a long process, but it was a relatively painless one. There was only a couple of things that didn't really work. And yeah, so I have a very soft spot for this piece. I think between this one and the last one you showed, like it's kind of shows an intent of where I want to push into.
Yeah.
Just doing
exceptional stuff, man. And it's very unique too, you know. It's Jon Weber work.
Yeah, that's nice of you to say, because I think with this stuff it is, you know, you do worry about not having your own style or whatever it is, but that just develops naturally.
I've never really have a very distinct style.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, cool. You could do a lot. Like it's not like you have range and you have style. You have the best of both worlds. So I wouldn't ever worry about that for you.
No. So yeah, I would like to keep doing more stuff with this type of thing going on. You know, I think those red guys were the most painful. Actually, the red and the blue backgrounds, I realized I wanted to change that. So I had to do every painter's worst nightmare where I had to repaint the background at the end, and just sort of that was a bit tough. But yeah, like when you're designing for covers for things, it's a different kettle of fish, right? Than when you're just doing illustrations for a book or whatever. It's got to have the appeal to grab the eye. Small size, big size. The colors have got to be poppy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's weird. Like I think the better I've got, the more design I've done for things. I actually really enjoy the design phase a lot. That's when we come up with like this guy's like crown or this spear or what is this cauldron? You know, like I enjoy that part a lot because you can let your imagination just sort of go crazy. Actually, I was going to say, like, ask you a question. I've actually really been pushing back against having a lot of like photo reference. Mm-hmm. I've noticed a lot of people have kind of got very photo heavy. Like when I look at their paintings, it seems like you can tell that. How do you feel about that? Do you think it works for some people and doesn't for others, or are you a big reference guy? Or
depends on the subject in question. Like if I'm going to draw any people and they're like the main thing, then I would want some kind of pose reference. But if they're like supplementary to like a landscape, then I can just make it up. So just if it's like. But the thing is, just because I take the reference photo doesn't mean I need to lean on it completely. But it's just a helpful like thing of like, oh, the shoulders are tilt this way or whatever. Like, so I think for me, it's asking yourself, are you not taking photo reference out of pride, or are you not taking photo reference because you think it's a crutch and it's holding you back? So it's like you just need to be self-aware of like, are you using it because it's going to make the piece better, or are you using it because you basically think that it's the only way? So I think it's just it depends on the piece, but I think it's helpful too to like imagine the whole composition, and then you take the reference from what you already have mapped out in your head, instead of the photo reference being the thing that guides the piece. You know what I mean? It's like a tool after the fact. I think that's when I like using it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. I had a discussion. Me and my friends saw this breakdown of like graphics, how photorealistic graphics are kind of killing games now, because the argument that they made was that the old rudimentary, like games have their own style and look about them in say the 90s, the early 2000s, and they aren't technically as good or as accurate, but the level of immersion is higher. And I thought that was interesting because I've always felt like my goal is to have people immerse into my world. Like I see it as like, you know, you get in a weird psychedelic submarine, the yellow submarine, if you will, go out into space. No one tells you where you're going. You open the porthole, and then that's what you see. That's how I always thought I'd want my paintings to be presented. And if you kind of like, I felt like when I was trying to reference stuff too closely and not let my imagination sort of fill in the gaps, it might look better, but there's this sort of weird wobble going on there. So I definitely use reference a lot, but yeah, like it's just something I'm a little bit conscious of pulling back on.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, but I guess
like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's obviously different if you're trying to do something a little bit more realistic, but yeah, I'm kind of, I guess, like I've been at this for a while now. Like, you know, I've got a lot of experience too, so learning to trust your own thing is kind of, I think, a positive.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's a big piece of it as well.
Yeah, this is bringing back memories, man. I taped off each one of those pavers and texture sponged them.
Oh, so that's right. You can see the parts on the outside there.
Yeah, it didn't work great, so I ended up going and painting it anyway. But just like
experiment.
Yeah, no, I was like, I just have these stupid ideas when you're like, what, on the shower or like walking around. You're like, oh, I'll try that, and then sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But I feel like that part of the process always, like, people can feel it in the work, you know, like just come out, I think. Yeah, there you go. What a dumb idea.
Once again,
I sort of
results good. Whoops.
Yeah. So, this one really was, most of the time was in the design, and yeah, just trying to pull it all together, man. I don't know why, but I just kind of like doing stonework at the moment. I'm obsessed with doing like broken, ancient looking stonework. It's fun.
Yeah, I love doing the like with this piece. The thing that I would have the most fun with is the slightly biomech, you know, Joe Bashar or whatever his name is, like architectural thing. Like that kind of shit is just so much fun because it's like it has the balance of like structure and freedom, you know, like you can't really go wrong, but you also like can make it feel three-dimensional.
Actually, weirdly, you're just saying that, I feel like this owes a lot to my old love of Bitmap Brothers games, platformers, particularly a game called Gods, which Simon Bisley did the cover of, actually. But it's like pixel platformer stuff, but all of their designs were biomechanical. I'll send you some photos after this. And you just made me realize that I've just aped all of that, actually. I didn't realize until now. But yeah, definitely got to be a factor in that. Shout out to all my super old guys listening.
Because that's like, send me the photos. I'll put a couple up and we can see how you plagiarized it. I'm kidding.
Yeah, like honestly, it's pretty bad. But yeah, I know that weird eye on the left and stuff. It's very biomechanical, isn't it? It's sort of weird. But
it's cool. I also love the final colors you have on that. It's like a little bit of a yellow, a little bit of a brown. Reminds me of the color scheme that Luis Royo uses, you know?
Yeah.
Like a lot of his pieces, it kind of has that feel to it. It's really cool.
Yeah, again, it's like kind of letting the colors just do their thing. You'd be surprised how bright things look if, you know, everything else is sort of a bit muddier.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know, like I felt like my paintings were too high saturation for a while. So I actually like Adrian Smith was a big part of that. Just making it a little bit more grittier looking, more realistic in a way. But
that's like a thing that people say though too is like, oh, I don't want my paintings to look muddy, and it's like if you got the values right and the lighting right, it's kind of hard to make things look muddy. Like I don't. People sometimes focus too much on that.
I think that's just poor palette management.
Yeah,
to be honest, but yeah, I'm not hyper conscious with trying to. Obviously, if something's not working and you got to make it work, it'll take a bit longer to. Like, for a great example here is that there's quite the glowing pink crystal, the one that's sitting up a bit. Yeah. I remember it was looking like the other ones, and I wanted it to look quite lit up. So I actually had to spot paint that white, which took a while, and then redo that with washes. So occasionally you'll have to do it, but only in like, most of the time things can kind of speak for themselves. I really like kind of more earthy looking color tones, to be honest, not ones that it's a nice point of separation too from AI art and the digital art stuff where everything's with neons. You turn up to a zillion. There's some sort of weird warmth, I think, like an analog sound compared to a digital sound, I guess, that people kind of vibe with. Anyway, next.
This piece.
Oh dear. Yeah, memories. This is for Fighting Fantasy, the game. This. I hope none of the game devs are going to listen to this.
This piece is awesome.
Yeah, but this was when I was left to do my own thing, not what they wanted. I basically bullied them into accepting this piece, and then it was in their rulebook print. But this was for a very challenging project where I think it's the first time Fighting Fantasy had ever relinquished their contract to a different, like an outsourced company. And they're a very successful games company, but very quickly, I really liked the art director. He was a real nice guy and I learned a lot from him, but very quickly it was like, you're here to do this digital look, very slick thing with no imagination and very, every mood board was just pictures of like Lord of the Rings stuff and, stuff that had been done. And I'm like, this is not why people are into this IP. Like, so this actually came
off kilter.
Yeah. And it's for a card game and like, it turned out fine. I haven't really told people about it. It was a bit of a disappointment because like Fighting Fantasy for me was like so huge, and influence, the same guys that created Games Workshop, that when I heard I was going to be working on this project, I was just like absolutely ecstatic. And it was a good project to do, but very quickly I kind of learned like what working for the big boys becomes. And this is no knock on Fighting Fantasy. This is knock on the contract company. Mm-hmm. And they said, we just need some monsters and stuff for the rule book. And I was just like, how about I just do this massive, like freaking huge thing and you can just chop bits out of it that you want. And they were like, okay, sure. And it was kind of, they were already so overdue and whatever that they just sort of let me do my thing. And I kind of, I think it's called Into the Pit or Out of the Pit, one of their like, seminal books. Very, very awesome painting from Chris Achilles. He's awesome artist. And I thought like, I'll just do like a run on of that, and, yeah, so eventually I just sort of sent it back to him and didn't really hear much. And I was like, oh, well, I think it would have been cooler if you had this type of stuff across more of the game design. But, that was kind of one of the reasons I've pulled back from trying to get like bigger jobs for these companies because it just, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak ill of it because it sounds like I'm whinging, but it just wasn't sort of all it was going to be. So yeah, it was a good little lesson. But this piece was, the biggest struggle was I designed all the monsters, popped them all in, had to do a very, very kind of laborious sketch pass in black ink. And then when I did my first texture washes, which needed to be a bit thicker, I basically lost most of the drawing and I had to go back in and kind of laboriously like repaint everything without a sketch, which was hideously time consuming and a mind fuck. Like I would have liked to have had another sort of 6 to 10 weeks of work on this just to tighten it up. But, I think what comes across is a whole heap of like crazy monsters that could be made into miniatures, and I like it. It's good fun.
I think if you didn't have all those experiences and everything that you went through to make this, you'd probably like it more. I mean, I think this
I think so.
Spectacular, dude. I mean,
thanks, man.
Yeah, all the pieces we've shown so far, but this is probably the one for me that I've seen that I'm like, holy fuck. Like it's just incredible, dude. I mean, yeah.
I think it's got a nice... Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. It's because it was rushed at the end. I probably would have liked to have just tweaked a couple of things just to tighten them up, but I feel like it's got a good atmosphere. Like it feels like you're kind of in there with them, and they sort of, some of them look like He-Man toys and stuff. Like I remember I can't remember that artist off the top of my head, but I was definitely riffing off of that. These could be toys or stuck in there. I really wanted that kind of feeling, and I think that people reacted to that quite well. This was definitely a piece that kind of pushed a lot of work onto me. So all's well that ends well, but it was just an interesting process of kind of getting there, and actually the most successful, in my opinion, the most successful piece from that project was when I was just left to do my own thing, which I found interesting. But the guy with the eye in his fucking throat and the horns, he was a bit of a pain in the ass.
The guy right out in front.
Yeah.
He's cool, man. My favorite monster is probably the...
Everyone does this. Everyone does that. What's my favorite? I used to do this in the magazines, right?
That's how you know you got a good piece,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Do you remember those little pink wrestling men?
Yeah.
Do you remember them? And it would come with the poster, and they'd have all of them, and you'd go through and you find your favorites. Like, yeah, it's funny because everyone does find your favorite. What you got? Who's your guy?
Well, now I don't want to say it, dude.
You got? Oh, no. That would drive me crazy.
I'm fucking around. The guy with the cloak and the, like, face that's opened up in the cloak. Like, that's just so sick. And then the design of those, like, antler horns is so cool.
Well, some black metal band was like, hey, do you mind if we, like, pinch that for our logo? We'll just fit the letters into it somehow. And I was like, that's genius. Go ahead. I don't know if they ever did, but I found that to be very amusing.
Yeah.
He was pretty much just painted like that top section where the lighter orange is. It's like I lost most of my sketch. I pretty much just had to wing that. Actually, but yeah, the skull thing underneath him kind of looks cool.
Yeah, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, holy shit. Nice choice. I like it. I haven't looked at this piece for long. I think you're right, man. I think I got like,
Nah, dude, you'll look at this in like a year and be like, how the fuck did I do this? I mean, it's super fucking cool. So
thanks,
well done, man.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that Cosmic Butthole, as the band call it, that's my first ever metal cover I got by a band called Feculent, which is on Black Butt. Actually, anyone looking at
Cosmic Butthole?
I think that they said that they wanted like cosmic organs.
Okay.
Like a yeah. I kind of wish that I had a little bit. The bottom section there. I would have liked to have put maybe those gloopy see-through intestines where you can see stuff inside. I would have liked to have put something maybe like that in there just to break it up a little bit, but it's fine. I was quite young at the time, so this was in oil though, which I would love to do oils more, but it's just impossible with our climate and how quickly I need to scan things and all that kind of thing. It's just not doable.
Yeah.
But I think that oil just gives you that little bit of pop that acrylics don't have. But yeah, like that's for Black Blood Audio, the label. If you want to get into like some really, really good Australian metal stuff, like just look them up. Resin Tomb Descent.
Gator piece?
No, that's still the Cosmic Butthole. That was for Feculent. They're not together, but it's kind of, that was a super group from a whole heap of their bands, which are quite massive in Brisbane and the East Coast here. But yeah, I would love to do some more work for those guys, but it's a bit hard when you're up against like, what's his name, Paoli Girardi and Dan Seagrave and stuff. They've gone up to that level. So maybe one day they'll come back to me. And then the Pauldron, the Croco monster piece. That's pretty much verbatim an Australian saltwater crocodile. You don't have to travel far from my place to start seeing those in the rivers. So,
that's the other thing Australians are known for is the great wildlife.
Yeah, but hey, yeah, I think it's also got to do with why it's so weird, because we've got so many like weird insects in the house, and you're like, oh, no one's like, ah, it's like, look at this cool thing. I think it makes us a bit strange. Yeah, I like that piece. That was a challenge because he left it kind of open. You know the thing I'm talking about? They leave it open, but they have I need this, but apart from that, and they were quite hard things to combine. And also, I wanted the texture of the canopy to kind of come across the river. Mm-hmm. So I actually painted a splotchy wash over the whole painting, and then decided I didn't like it. So I had to go back in and repaint it, which was annoying. But for some reason, it just didn't work. So that taught me a lesson of just get your lighting sorted before you start the finishing phases of the painting.
Yeah.
Those mangroves, again, like they're just from it's very Australiana, exotic sort of vegetation from where I live. And I don't know if you realize that that's like an Ankylosaurus, a morphed Ankylosaurus armor.
Oh, okay.
Like it's a skull. It's a skull.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of, we're taking a few liberties because he has a lizard man based dungeon synth project, which sounds like you're playing a game with like lizard guys like and Conan. It's awesome.
They're like little lizard sounds in the music.
Yeah, it's like swamp fantasy. It's awesome. Pauldron's like massive in the scene. He's this dude from Norway. Really cool guy. Has really funny tastes. But I sort of, yeah.
You would never expect that music coming out of Norway.
No
music,
No, that I've mentioned that to him many times. I'm like, I did not expect that to be the case. He's like, yeah, I know. Everyone's a bit, doesn't really get into it over here, sort of thing. But yeah, it's perfect for us. It's a very Australian piece in a way, that one feels, strangely. But yeah, it was fun to do. It had a lot of challenges. It's funny because at the time I thought I haven't had enough detail to the armor. It's all too like basic bitch. But looking at it now, I'm like, it's got plenty going on.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
This piece is really awesome too. I hadn't seen this one before.
Yeah, the thing that kind of drove this is because it's for a tape J card for a dungeon synth project called Rusty Ring. There sort of has to be parts of it that are very like blank for track listings, and so like sort of push the composition into very like weird places. But it was kind of cool to have those restrictions because again, this is something that you can relate to, I'm sure, but trying to have a piece that looks like a good standalone painting, composition and color-wise, combined with the troubles of trying to get the assets in, where the logo goes and, where the busyness is here and that, like they don't always line up well. And that can be insanely frustrating. I think I've heard you talk about that I like to have the final piece look very like that's done, that looks good.
I agree.
it just kind of helped me break those patterns a little bit, because the guy's like, vaguely off center in the middle of nowhere there. I'd like to shift him to the right if I, had my other hat on. But I think I did like just a full purple wash to begin with and painted on top of that. And yeah, I'd like to have had a bit more time to work up that fortress, but I just ran out. So
beautiful purple you use though, like that you
yeah
on. It's really, and then that complementary aspect with the like planet kind of circular shape in the left corner. It's nice.
Yeah, that was actually a sort of last minute addition. I knew I wanted to have something there, but like the monochrome, it was looking quite monochrome before that, and I thought it just needed something to pop it out. And it was a bit of a risk because, that's already had the textures of the background on top of it. So if it didn't work out, it was going to take a bit of time. But, Charles Vess, I remember reading an article with him. I don't know if you know him.
One of his art books, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. He's awesome. But he said, be brave. Just always try your ideas and roll with the punches if they don't work out. Otherwise, you'll always be one of these coulda, woulda, shoulda kind of guys. And so, yeah, you pay the toll sometimes for that. But, this was a cool piece to do. I didn't have too many dramas with this one, apart from, when I did my final finish, the spray paint texture went all over the painting and I had these huge black streaks over it. So I had to quickly jump into action and very panicked mop it all up.
Because it really dab it before it dried, or what'd you do?
Well, I think the spray texture, it just like grips, and like if you pull it, it just kind of collects all the other paint, and so it just creates this like gray glunge that I'll pull it all across the painting, and luckily it kind of sponged off okay. But it's probably another reason I'm going to get an airbrush, I think. But yeah. I kind of like the green bits in the bottom left. I think that's a nice.
That too. That ties it to the upper left corner as well.
Yeah, the design and all the fonts was very like, it had a kind of medieval border and very ye olde text and stuff as well. So yeah, I was really, really happy with how that design ended up. So it was cool.
My dog is trying to get a small piece of treat that is underneath my little thing here. Okay,
give me a second. Still can't hear it. It's all good. What's his name?
Cosmo. Let me see if I can help him out.
Cosmo. All good.
It's a little character, man. All
yeah.
Right.
This was actually that last piece was one of the first ones I did like a full color mock-up.
Like the digital one, like you showed.
Yeah.
In memory?
Yep. And spent a bit of time on that, and I really felt like that's a given for me now.
I do really it every helpful. Time as well.
Yeah. I used to do it, mate, sort of in watercolor-ish, but I just felt like, how Frazetta has these little mock-ups. I sort of did that, but it just basically had not too much meaning when it came to the paint I was using and the application. So
I do beauties of the computer. If I'm doing pen and ink, I'll do like with gray markers like this.
Yeah, nice.
I'll do that, and then
What's your brand, man? Give me some of your brands.
Copic.
Okay, so you're a Copic guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then for color studies, I'll use color pencils. For that, I use Prismacolor because they're cheaper. Yep. And then for my final work, I use the Caran d'Ache luminescence color pencils.
I'm sort of in between. I'm a Faber-Castell guy.
But good stuff too.
Yeah. It's weird because Prismacolors are basically the same price as Caran d'Ache here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anything from the States here is like really expensive, which sucks because like golden paint. It's crazy, but yeah, I would love to. Prismacolor are good. They work well on all surfaces too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a colored pencil fan.
Yeah, I actually use a lot more colored pencil for details than I probably would like to admit.
I mean, dude, fucking Drew Struzan did it, so I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why do we feel like that's cheating? I don't get it. It's not.
I don't.
It's just I'm kind of getting over that stuff, but it's like putting white lines into, back over, black rendering for ink pieces. Like for a long time I'd be like feel bad about doing that. I don't know why. It's got to be yeah, no, me either. It's got to be,
dude. This thing saves
yeah, there you go. The I don't know what the deal is with that. It's got to be some sort of complex.
It's that, or like it does look slightly different. I mean, for the longest time, I was like similar to you, but then it's just like I'm an illustrator. The end product is what people see for the most part, and then if the original has any like interesting mixed media stuff, to me that just tells the story of making it, and that makes it interesting as a fan. So, then you get your Karmazit original, and it's all just completely black, and you're like, motherfucker. Well, that is just like whatever. Why you like this? If you want to do it on hard mode, you feel free. There you go, hard mode. I got plenty of Tyler Pennington originals that have the white, and I see why he does it. So it's like, actually, talking of Penningtons, Bruce Pennington was big because I looked at a couple of his paintings up close, and he patches in the background paints a lot, and at distance you can't see it. Up close? Oh no, so someone just did some like those museum online art things. Oh, so not in the flesh, but you can really, really, really get up there. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, he's patched in his backgrounds. I always thought he was one of the smoothest painters ever, and I was like, oh, okay. What am I? Half the things that we're worried about are just not even a factor, eh? Look at Jack Kirby's like pages. They're just scrapbooks. Yeah, exactly. And like that, to me, that stuff just becomes cooler with age. Yeah. I mean, fucking Bruce Pennington. He's probably one of my biggest like painting influences. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard not to be inspired by him. Actually, on the Ophidian memory, original of his. Dude, good luck. But I reckon you could. Yeah, I think you could probably get a couple. He's selling some now. I mean, they're expensive, no doubt, but they're not like. I'm trying not to sound like a dick. They're not like fucking Frazetta expensive. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're attainable, but they're very expensive. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that stuff's a good investment anyway. I mean, like, given where Blood Incantation are going and what they've done, just the fact that, that's such an iconic cover for them, like, it's he's going to be, and June, like where June's gone and all that sort of thing. I look at his work a lot. Covers of, Book of the New Sun, those are amazing. Yeah, they're so good. Actually, I probably, this one in the Ophidian memory, the glinty high, like the foreground rocks here. Like I definitely was looking at him because he has like an overblown lighting to it, which I think I could probably even push further. But yeah, I look at him probably more than anyone else for like that epic scale. It's weird because these paintings are quite simple a lot of the time, actually. But like Dolly, where it's like desert, and there's a lot of space, Yeah. But he's kind of like what you were talking about, where he gets commissioned a lot of landscape pieces. Yeah, he's not really considered a landscape painter. He's a sci-fi surrealist. Yeah, sure. It's weird. I never thought I would enjoy the landscapes because they're always the thing stopping me getting in the way from doing the guy with the fucking war axe and But now I'm like, I'm loving that.
It's good. They're a bit more organic. Sorry to make
No,
you
you're
flip.
cool. We just got a couple more, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, all good, man. Sounds good. Yeah, black and white. These were done. The sketch, okay, these were done a little differently. So, like, the design was done in pencil. Then I kind of positioned things right. Take like a blue line version of the sketch and then get the composition right. And then I'll actually sort of print that out and then trace over it with a pencil run to get that organic feel. I felt like if I did my sketch digitally and then inked it, it looked too staged or too, I don't know, it just lacked warmth. So yeah, I'll actually spend a long time doing the pencil drawings of both of these, and then mainly mixture of microns, a little bit of crow quill and brushwork. And then I'll touch up a couple things afterwards that I see digitally. But the one on the left, I really wanted, there's an old version of Idols of the King, the poetry, which has a very weird psychedelic 70s cover. And I wanted to kind of riff on the look of that for his armor and stuff and keep it really simple.
Yeah, I like how it's like kind of like flat graphic style. It's cool.
Yeah, kind of make it look like it's part of maybe like a tapestry or something.
Yeah.
And then in the background have a little bit of that doré kind of, lininess. Nico Delort, that kind of thing. Love that dude. He's so good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And then the other one I kind of went with, I had a bit of a ideology around this where I didn't want it to feel like I was painting lines. I wanted it to feel like I was painting with the ink. So I wasn't doing much hatching. It didn't feel like I was just kind of like dabbing in values. There's a couple of things that like underneath the two guys holding on, I think I did some cross hatching just to give them some vague shadow. I felt like that kind of worked quite well for me. So I might keep that on because like there's plenty of good cross hatches out there like yourself, man. Like it's not my, maybe not for me.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that piece, dude.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Adrian Smith and Brian Froud like mixed together,
Actually, that was sort of the two. I wanted that kind of gross weight of Smith, and yeah, the commission request was there's an artist that does like very old versions of like elves and trolls, even prior to Froud. Like he's very like even early. I can't remember, like might even be 20s or 30s. Some European guy, I think, but they were like, yeah, that and Dark Crystal Froud. Look to the trolls. So yeah, I'm happy you picked up on that, man. That's actually made my morning because that's what we were going for. I quite like the border too. I kind of wanted to feel like it was carved out, and just that's on a long sleeve shirt somewhere. It's cool.
And what was the project for this one?
So the one on the right's Troll King, which is there's a dungeon synth guy called Alevelon Tristan who runs Dungeons Deep record. He's one of the big dogs in the scene, man. Like you would like Alevelon if you like Thief. He's kind of like Thief on roids. He dresses up like a barbarian and he's stacked as shit. And he's like whacking drums. It's crazy. Go look him up. He's wearing animal skins and shit. And but yeah, he's just started this new project called Troll King, and like I think he's mended with a couple other guys, but this is for a festival shirt release, which went really well. So thanks, Tristan, legend.
Oh yeah, I think this is the last one. This painting on the left I'd never seen before, but I fucking
it's unreleased. Yeah, it's for
It's really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was yeah, I can't. He basically said I wanted to feel like depressing death in space with cosmic weird shit going on. I was like, hold my beer.
It's fucking awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that record will come out. Caleb's one of the great guitarists of our city, and eventually it'll happen. He just had a few things going on, but yeah, for sort of a death metal, black metal kind of outfit, and that was literally just him letting me go crazy with whatever I wanted. So yeah, I quite like cosmic fantasy, if that makes sense. That the blending between fantasy and sci-fi, I really love.
Yeah, same.
And that weird lattice down the bottom there, like this is one of those pieces where I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like it just is very more of a surreal, organic process. This one, just sort of painted out and
like resonate with it. And I do that part in the bottom where it's like a new world is like opening and there's like this depth. That's like so cool.
Thanks.
I love that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I actually probably spent the most on that part. It wasn't sitting right for ages, and yeah, I like that painting a lot. I would like to do a little bit more experimental, shapes out of shapes stuff. I used to do a lot of that kind of thing. Similar to the Yellow King painting, like a lot of that was undesigned. Like the whole bottom left section of that was kind of just riffed on as I went. So I just refer to myself in duality. That's weird. But yeah, a lot of that was very, very not. I think the vague shape was kind of like sketched in, and the rest I just kind of made up as I went. Yeah, I'd love to do more of that kind of stuff, actually. So if you're a band that wants that kind of shit, hit me up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Let's call it.
Yeah. All right. I didn't want to cut you off prematurely there.
Not at all, man. It's been an absolute privilege to be on the channel. Sorry if I've talked so much.
Well, that's the point. It's for you to talk, so you're good, man.
That's what my wife said. She's like, make sure you don't talk too much. And I was like, well, I'm being interviewed. Like,
yeah, you're good.
And yeah, keep up all the good work, bro. Like, love it. I love those hangs you've been doing. They're cool. Just jump on there. It was my first one the other week, and I was like, this is cool. Everyone's just chilling. It was awesome to work to that in the studio. So,
are you talking like live drawing, or what are you saying?
Yeah, the live drawings.
Yeah, I want.
Obviously, I usually miss system. Yeah, how many hours you got in a day? I mean, you got that curse of like, obviously you're picking up more work for yourself, and trying to sustain the channel. I've always,
well, that's why I'm not doing every week anymore because I can't.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like, for me, the good thing about this channel is the reason it's still going is because it's fun. When it stops feeling fun, I won't do it. You know what I mean? But why it feels fun is I don't feel like I have to do it. I do it because I do it for many reasons, but selfishly for me, it's fun to have conversations with other artists, and I always leave wanting to make more work. You know what I mean? So it re-energizes me, and I hope people get that from listening it. And then, I think it would be cool to do more live drawings and like expanding the cast. I just need people that can like do live drawing setups.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I don't have to like, micromanage that part of the process. I just need to be like, hey, I need your camera to be like this, pointing down, and I need you to be comfortable drawing on camera. And it's actually a little harder than it seems at first. But if you're doing it, like I'm down to have more guests who have been on the show, like doing it.
That would be sick.
Think about it more.
Yeah, I also for your channel, like we're wrapping up, but I think for people who don't have the con scene and the I see people from Brisbane mainly. That's it. Like it's the nearest Sydney is like 8-hour drive plus away.
Shit.
And then Melbourne's another. It's like crossing the East Coast to the West Coast in the States, really, to go see other people. So the con circuit here is so broken up that, and I know that's similar for people in Europe. You can't just go jumping around everywhere. So your channel sort of does that for guys like, Luke, who follows the channel really closely, and it's cool to kind of have that feeling of being part of those meetups and stuff. So yeah, I would definitely miss it if it went away, but you got to do what's in your best interest.
Well, I'm not. I have no plans to close it up. Just it might not be every week,
Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing some new work, man. Do you have anything like big in the pipeline, or what do you got?
I have stuff done I can't share yet. I have a painting. I'll show it to you off stream, but it's
sweet.
I can't show it publicly yet. And then I'm doing a single cover, a single release, digital, but I'm doing that in pen and ink. And then I have some stuff that just hasn't seen light of day yet. But I mean, like, for me, I'm slow and methodical, It's like one piece a month typically. But they're like, ambitious pieces usually. I'm not really somebody who can like turn out stuff every week. That's just not.
It also depends what your life setup dictates that a lot too. So
yeah. But
anyway.
yeah, I'm very stoked for people to see what I'm working on.
Yeah, me too, man. I can't wait.
Parting piece of advice for any other artists?
Actually, let me just check. Yeah, I've developed a rule called the 80% rule, and it takes the pressure off. If you're 80% happy with something, it's done. If you're 80% happy with that part of the piece, move on to the other part. It takes the pressure off, and it stops you from having that paralysis of decision making. And what happens is your 80% curves up, so you're always getting more done. You're less like attached to single ideas, and you're less manic about that thing. I felt like, I know close enough is good enough is not really what a lot of people want to hear when it comes down to advice around these days, but I think it's a good thing because your 80% will become your 100% from 2 months ago very quickly, and then it'll just keep going up. And it just, that's one rule I live by. And I think it really has helped.
That's a great point.
Particularly for young people. Do more work, do more paintings, not less really good ones at the start. That changes a little bit later, but it's a great rule. I stick to it. Yeah,
that's excellent advice.
Thanks, man.
For everybody who's tuning in, first of all, thank you. But please support Jon. He's on Instagram, Jon Weber 8, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, give him a follow. I mean, the work that he's producing is incredible, and it's so cool to see the traditional steps that go into making it. So beyond that, keep an eye out for what he's producing. And I mean, probably like 2 to 3 episodes a month is what you can expect from Heavy Art Talk. So thank you guys for being patient and understanding there. Till next time, see ya.